And I have with me a very, very special guest tonight. You've all known him as the masterpiece, Chris Adonis, formerly known as Chris Masters. He's had the most epic moves.
I'm trying to figure out when to flex. You just keep going, darn.
Oh, so sorry.
No. Now your timing is all off, man. You need a pause right there.
Perfect.
Anyways, I'm just
done. So I have with me the masterpiece, Chris Adonis, a very well-known pro wrestler, fought across the world. He sort of combines power with charisma, the most good-looking pro wrestler out there.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I like this. I like this. You really know how to, make a guy feel special.
Of course. You are special, man, and this is a very special moment for me. It's a fan moment for me. And what's so special is your move, the Masterlock, and I want to start off with that.
Okay.
How did you come about that move? Because it's such an iconic move for all pro wrestling fans.
Okay, so I can't take credit for actually doing it, and I know that anybody watching this is going to mention Hercules Hernandez, Warlord, and Ken Patera, all the guys who did it before me. But I would just say of the modern era, like the full Nelson was my thing, and I guess now Bobby, obviously we might talk about that. But so I can't take credit for it. I know they wanted to debut me with a finisher being the main thing, kind of like what we did, but we didn't know what the finisher was. And I'm pretty sure that it was either Arn Anderson or Triple H who had suggested the full Nelson. I was worried that it was so basic, because at that point, the fans had seen so much that maybe they'll just think it's boring or not enough. But that was kind of actually part of the deal. Is a reason why they wanted it to be the full Nelson is because they wanted to recondition the fans again so they could understand that you don't have to jump off a 30-foot cage or whatever every night or anything. These holds are legit. And especially, and UFC helped that out too a little bit, seeing the submissions work there. So it's I think they really wanted to legitimize some basic holds and kind of take a couple steps back from the how extreme they're getting, because there was also a lot of injuries. You know what I mean? That was another thing. So but honestly, it's just it did work, and I think it worked for a couple reasons. The full Nelson is a shoe. It's real. I used that hold before I even got into wrestling as a bouncer at clubs. I would use it as a restraint hold. Okay. Because it's really the best. You can either use it to restrain somebody, or you can, tilt their head and make them pass out. That cuts off blood flow to the brain. But here's another thing. I also think. So you were talking about your fandom, right? So I know that if I was an 8, 10, 12, gosh, maybe even 14 or 15-year-old kid, if I was watching Raw and watching the Masterlock challenges, I can guarantee you that at some point or another, I would have came about the next day and snuck up on one of my friends. Definitely. And put him in the full Nelson and challenged him to get out of it. Yeah, for sure.
And just to add to that, I think what's unique about this move is, so of course we tried the other moves like the pedigree and the sort of high flying from the, I guess, in our house from a cupboard or an almirah or something. But what's unique about this move is you can do it as a kid also you used to do it, as an adult also it's so easy to do it, but yet hard to break. So in fact, when we
here's the key thing, while we're on the subject, just since you were doing that.
Yeah. That's not.
Yeah, that's actually the biggest.
So what's the technique?
People will do this.
Correct.
And what you got to understand is when you do this, it's not legit. This is very easy to break. That's why this is essential for the hold. And I credit this to Arn Anderson. But again, if you just really think, it only makes sense. You know what I mean? If you really think about things, if you were really to test this out, you would know that this is having it locked, and this on the other hand. So anytime you see anybody do this, you can correct them and tell them Chris Masters told you.
Got it from the origin, basically.
Yeah.
So when we came to check out this dome where we are hosting Ground Zero Powerbomb, as soon as we went out, I tried that move with our creative director. So that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Till date, everyone remembers the Masterlock, and that's how epic this is, and you made it epic. So
and here's the thing, even if, let's just say, I wasn't, this is 10-year-old me again, let's just say I wasn't even a Chris Masters fan.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter. I would still...
That move.
there were probably after the Raw where I did it with HPK, where we did it in the main event, I can guarantee you the next day I would have been doing that to one of my friends. You know what I mean? Because I mean, we were already Irish whipping each other into lockers and, you know, hitting each other in the back with books, sometimes in the forehead, stiff too.
We've all done it,
We were idiots, man. Everybody hated us. And then wrestling became real popular, like right towards the tail end was the Attitude Era. And I think that was in kind of my 11th grade or maybe something like that. So it was a, you know, interesting time there.
Interesting times, definitely.
Because you were kind of like, before the Attitude Era, if you're a wrestling fan, you were kind of like almost a closeted wrestling fan, because it wasn't like something that the whole classroom would talk about. It would literally be like you and your wrestling buddy. It wasn't until the Attitude Era where, and it still wasn't everybody, but it would be like, oh, y'all see what Stone Cold did, the Vince, and
so it became expressive. You could express it.
But before that, man, it was not cool. That's why I was not cool in high school. Primarily, I think, because I was a wrestling fan, and most of the kids at that point had already like, you know, they moved on already or whatever, you know, but they were about to get caught right back into it. So.
So you mentioned like you used to do that sort of lock as a bouncer.
Yeah.
So you had obviously a long career in pro wrestling, but what sort of made you get into this? Just a pure fan, or how did you get into it? Was there someone at your home who used to be a fan, your dad or someone else?
No, I never met my dad until I was much older, probably like 23 years old. I was already in WWE actually, it's the funny part. But no, I think it just came down to this. To go back to the fan thing.
Yes.
Wrestling, since the moment I got into it, has always been like number one at the very top. Like, you know, and I had a couple years where I stopped watching, like, you know, a lot of us do, your lapse fandom or whatever. But, you know,
lapse fandom, that's a good word for it.
Yeah, it is. It's like,
because you drift apart from it, and that's
well, because that's life, right? Like maybe there's a lot going on in your life and you just can't, like, I don't even know what it was. I know that who knows, but
but we all go through it. I get your point.
Well, yeah, and you know what sucked me back into it was like the Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels and Bret. I was so inspired by seeing what both of them did, you know, and to know their story, to come up from tag team wrestlers to intercontinental to world, and to be as talented as they were, and to see them, I don't know, I was just so inspired by that. That I don't know if that's what made me want to be a wrestler, but I just know that from that point on, I was a lifer. You know what I mean? Like, it was either I was going to be a fan my whole life, or I was going to be in it. And you know, because it was maybe a couple of years later where, like, you know, you're in high school and maybe you haven't seriously thought about it, but at some point you're going to think like, what the heck am I going to do with myself? And I think maybe a teacher had triggered the conversation, and maybe I finally just thought about it in my head, and really it just, I looked around at my life and I saw like, okay, well, what am I going to do with my life? Well, what am I into? You know, there's a wrestling magazine here. I'm thinking about it in my head. I've got posters all over the walls. It's like, shoot, like this, it seems like.
And you couldn't come up with an answer? Like, what if not a pro wrestler? What else?
There was never really anything else. I mean, like, the only thing I can think of now at this point is, you know, you could branch out into entertainment and enjoy, you know, it won't be the same as wrestling, but you know, the challenge of performing still, you know what I mean? And trying to, you know, like Batista's done, like master the subtleties of acting, you know what I mean? Because a lot of wrestling, not as much nowadays, but it used to be, it's very over the top. You know what I mean? Very over the top, you know, Hulk Hogan, you know, yelling the whole time, but like, you know, it's not as much like that now, but you know, there's still a little element of that. It's more
realistic, but yet it gives you a feel of larger than life. So it has a good balance.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so yeah, I don't know, it really just came down to like wrestling was the only thing I loved. And it, like, even to this day, I have two main loves that have kind of stuck around my whole life. And one obviously is wrestling. The other is basketball. And the NBA, I've always loved, like NBA was always, you know, wrestling always edged it out, like, you know, wrestling, but like basketball was like, I don't know, you know, it was definitely one of my main other things. And in like, in my adulthood, it's been nice because, you know, I've been wrestling 20 years now and I know everybody, you know, for the most part, at least all the guys I grew up watching, all that. I can't watch wrestling as a fan anymore like I did.
Any particular reason for that?
Because I'm too involved. I know all the parties. I have biases. I have, you know, it's hard to just it's almost hard, if not impossible, to watch it like that. For me, when I'm watching wrestling as a fan, I have to go back to the old stuff. You know what I mean? I got to watch like old matches from, probably anything from pre-Attitude Era, honestly. Like, and that's not to bring the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era is great, but like, everything before the Attitude Era is kind of stuff I like to watch. Although the Monday Night Wars, I mean, the Monday Night Wars were the most awesome time in wrestling. So don't get me wrong, but just in terms of the wrestling I remember, you know what I mean? Because I could really, it was easier to digest wrestling.
Makes sense.
Up to that point. It got much more of it once it got real popular again.
Got it.
But yeah, man, I love it. It was the only thing, it was pretty much.
And any particular wrestler whom you idolized as a kid?
Well, I always say two guys, but like the main guy, my all-time idol, hero, muse, whatever you want to call it, is HBK, Shawn Michaels. Because to me, I mean, there's just, he's the GOAT. There's nobody better. There's nobody, Shawn Michaels on pay-per-view would give you a match that was worth paying for. And like, that was one thing that stood out to me from when I was a kid, is it like, Shawn Michaels does have, like, he performs great on Raw, but he's got this next level at pay-per-views. And to me, it was like, man, if there's anything can incentivize you to watch a wrestling pay-per-view, it's having a guy like that, who's gonna really like go out there and give himself. And so, yeah, man, it was just Shawn Michaels. And then like the Warrior, though, I always want to give the Warrior his props, because when I first started watching, Warrior captivated me. And like, the face paint, the music, like he really created something. Everybody talks about he wasn't a great worker, but like in terms of his character and all that stuff, he was an amazing worker, and he was very creative. So like, you gotta give him his flowers on that stuff, man. But like, that was short-lived, because he came in and went a lot. And I gotta say, as soon as Shawn turned heel and left Marty, nothing against Marty because I love Marty, but I was a fan of Shawn right away. And if you remember, Warrior kind of left around that time. So that was like my last into my lapsed fandom, was like, Warrior's gone, Shawn Michaels is cool.
Makes sense.
But it wasn't enough, whatever happened, and I kind of stopped watching. I missed 1993, I missed 1994, and I missed most of 1995.
So Shawn Michaels, the sexy guy, and I called you the most good-looking guy. So
well, yeah, I mean, again, he's very much an inspiration. I mean, I do steal stuff from him. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see, like, even the best.
That's what you do from idols, so I mean, makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, I would see something wrong with it if I came out with some chaps.
Of course.
Yeah, that'd be a bit much.
Got it. Now, coming back to your visit here, how's been the experience in India so far? Is this your first visit?
No, I've been to India quite a bit for various wrestling projects. The great Kali is a good friend of mine, good brother right there.
Was there any perception of WXM when you heard about this platform? And has it changed since you've been here?
Well, no, honestly, I didn't have a perception of it yet, because I'm kind of like, I can be out of the loop on stuff like this, but I have like heard of it, but it's like one of those things where you can't, like, the boys will tell you something's good, and if you get enough of them saying it, you're gonna believe it, you know what I mean? But it's always nice when you come down and you see it firsthand and things are running smooth, and like I was telling you earlier, I've wrestled for so many promotions that I've kind of seen it all. So, it definitely stands out to me.
And what's your expectation from Ground Zero Powerbomb happening tomorrow live in Mumbai?
I think it's going to be off the chain. I think everything that I've seen with the venue and the promotion leading up to this, there's an energy around this. And I'm not just saying that because we're on camera and because I'm trying to promote the show. It does have, and I mean, you guys have done your part. Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, you've advertised, you've put it out there, and I don't know, I just feel like it's going to be a really good show. I think everybody's going to come out of it really fired up, and I know the fans are going to have a good time. I mean, they're going to get to see Chris Masters.
Of course, the best out there.
Potentially a Masterlock. I mean, come on.
Do we
want to see a full Nelson?
Do we get to see the Masterlock tomorrow?
Well, I mean, if I'm successful, you should. I mean, I'm definitely going to try for it. I have to, right?
Definitely.
That's my thing, So let's just hope.
Excellent. Okay, so this is the last segment, Chris. I guess we've covered this. Favorite wrestler growing up? So Warrior or HBK? Which one is it?
HBK.
HBK.
For sure, yeah. No, that's what I wanted to clarify. But I like to give Warrior his flowers because, and I still, he was cool.
Of course. Dream match opponent?
Bret the Hitman Hart or Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant, really? That's an
Yeah,
interesting...
because it would be cool. It would be like, from a worker standpoint, like imagine this. Like Andre is so big and he has so much stature or status that like as you almost dream of being able to sell for someone like that. You know what I mean? And like like the fun part would be like taking his stuff and like selling the hell out of it. And like, you know, you would want to do that. Like you know what I mean? Because you want to do it for him. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. And like psychology wise, he's so big that, you know, you like everybody needs to say, like if he gives you a glom on the back, like everybody should pancake out. You know what I mean? Nobody should be doing that really.
That's an interesting choice though. I never expected that name to come up.
I bet a lot of guys would tell you that though. I mean, again, it's just more because it's like the ultimate guy to sell for. I can't think of anybody else you would sell bigger for.
Got it. One word to describe WXM Ground Zero Powerbomb?
Explosive.
Excellent. Any go-to pump-up songs before a match, before you enter?
Oh man, back in the day I used to do that, but no, I don't do it before I wrestle now, because I like to kind of get into my thoughts and you know, get into my zone like that. It's more, because to me, honestly, performing, you know, there's no lack of fire and all that. To me, it's more about keeping yourself calm, actually. That's more the challenge, because you know, like you can give in to being all fired up and stuff, but you know, you start making mistakes and you start moving too quickly and all this stuff. That's why it's so important to relax. And like, you know, and that's what a lot of new guys need to know. You know, the green guys need to know that more than anybody.
Of course. Favorite Indian food for you?
I mean, I had a good curry thing on the plane today. It was like a wrap or something though. I don't know. It was, but to be honest, the food's a bit spicy for me. I think it would like destroy my stomach after like 2 days. Like,
we'll take care of it. Don't
like
worry
that
about
lunch,
that.
Like that lunch that
was good?
You got. Well, it was good, but ooh, it was like
it was spicy.
Well, it got difficult. Like it's weird because it, like you start out good, but it's like it gets more difficult. It's like almost the hotness builds up or something. And so there was a certain point where I'm just like, ooh, and then I had to like, let me just try a couple slices of pizza to, you know.
Balance it out.
Well, because I didn't know. I'm like, man, can I finish this? Like, maybe I should just finish half a pizza too, and we'll just leave it. It had an egg on it, though. I like that. That was cool.
Perfect. Chris, thank you so much. It's been a privilege having you.
Yeah, let's do it.
And of course, looking forward to tomorrow. Jigra Hai.
WXM Powerbomb Part 4, streaming on 8th November, only on WXM's YouTube and Facebook channels.